Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. Now I've been looking on the Pendle Slot website for many months at this beautiful TTS Renault Alpine in 1/24 scale. Now the only thing that really held me back from buying it was the fact that it's £125, which is about the right price for a 1/24 scale slot car, and it's about £100 as a white kit. And I thought I could buy it as a white kit and I could build it on this channel and that would be great. But that's £100, and for £25 I could get it ready to run, and it looks beautiful as this ready to run car. Anyhow, I didn't buy it, and it came and it went, sadly. And then this weekend, or last weekend gone, as some of you may know, I went to the Gaydon Slot Car Fest in 2026 and I had my own stand. Now I was incredibly busy for 2 days solid and I barely got a chance to leave my stand. However, on the Saturday I did manage to go 5 feet that way for a couple of minutes and 10 feet that way for a couple of minutes. And both times I bought a car. Now the first time I went 5 feet that way, it was to the Pendle Slot stand and they got a very small selection of used cars, and this year the quality of the used cars was absolutely insane. It was beautiful. There were some amazing cars in there, including a Skeletrix Volvo. I mean, second hand already. Phenomenal looking car. Anyway, in the box, in one of the boxes, there was this car. I thought, oh my, that is the TTS Renault Alpine. And I thought, oh, I shouldn't buy it. It was £70. I thought, I picked it up and I put it back down and I went back to my stand and I thought, no, I can't leave it there. I went back to the stand, picked it up again, had another look, thought, no, don't buy it. You don't need another project. And I put it back and went back, came back a third time, and I ended up coming back a fourth time and I said, no, I'm having it. So I grabbed it off the stand, sorted it out with Sean, and here it is. And what a beautiful car it is. Now in this video, I'm going to show you this car running around Unit 8, my very small track, because that's the track that I tried it on at the Gaydon Slot Car Fest when I bought it off the Pendle Slot stand. That's the only track I had. I popped it on there and I was blown away at how well this 1/24 scale car navigates such a tight little figure of 8 track. So in this video, I'm going to give you a really detailed look at the car, and there's some really interesting features on this car. There's a couple of things that are missing from it, so I'm going to go to the bench and we're going to fix those couple of things only briefly, and then we'll take it to Unit 8 and Ricard Valley and we'll give it a good blast around the track to see what she looks like in motion. So without further ado, let's get on my table and show you this beautiful car. Okay, so brace yourself for a thing of beauty incoming. Look at that. What a stunning looking car. Beautiful colour, beautiful finish, fantastic wheels, and look at that. A full metal chassis with a UJ in the back, because this car has got camber. What a unique feature. I know these cars have had it for a while, but I've not had one, and I don't know any other car on the market with camber with a universal joint. Beautiful alloy gear. I don't know what the motor is. I don't actually know. Look at this condition of that guide on the front. I don't think this car has ever actually been used. There's a little tiny bit of use marks on the very tip there. That's probably because I ran it at the show a few times, because I couldn't see anything before I ran it. But look at the quality of the paintwork. It's such a gorgeous colour. Look at the roof and the bonnet. Absolutely lovely. You've got these really nice chrome headlights. The grille, unfortunately, is a sticker. It might have been nice if that was an etch. I think they could have probably got away with putting that as an etch. But this is probably a low volume car, and you know, budget can only go so far, so you know, a sticker is okay, I guess, but the rest of the car is so pretty it doesn't really matter. And we got some really nice windscreen wipers, and they're slightly rubbery, so they're not likely to break. They're quite flexible, which is nice. Very nice silvering around the window as well, very clearly and cleanly done. And those alloy wheels, look at those, they're lovely. So we got a really nice gold insert with a black back, so that gives it lots of definition, and a very nice alloy wheel behind it as well. Actually the tyre's a little bit hard, but anyway, it's alloy behind. So we got the door there with the door handle. The door handle isn't separate, it's only paint, but it still looks nice. It's absolutely fine. You've got that lovely swooping rear arch here now. And around the back we got the rear screen is much the same as the front with that chrome around the trim. But look at that parcel shelf. Now it shows up a little bit more in the camera than it does in real life, but that's actually quite a nice texture in real life to the eye. And then we've got a little bit of detail on the boot, and then we come round to the back and we got some detail there. Very, very nice silvering around the rear lights. Now this rear light is missing. This one here is there. So we'll come back to that at the bench afterwards. You also notice we got some wing mirrors missing. Now I'm going to come back to that as well, because I've actually 3D printed a set of wing mirrors to go on this car, and I will show you those right now. So here they are. Now these are the little 3D printed mirrors that I've designed and printed off, and I will be offering these on my website. I think the picture is going to be just about there. So I actually call these the 3.75mm bullet style wing mirrors, or door mirrors, because that is what they are in diameter, and I think these are a reasonable representation of 24th scale wing mirrors. And as you can see, by the time I fitted one on this car, I think they'll be just about perfect. And they've got little posts, get this camera to focus, little posts just down here, which you should be able to cut them off at the base and pop them into the car. So we'll come back to those on the bench later on. But back to the car. So this rear exhaust, to my surprise, is actually a 3D printed part. So I didn't realise that they would have so obviously 3D printed parts on a mass-produced car, but it's very, very nicely done and looks the part, and I don't mind it being there at all. And I come around to the other side, and this side's much the same as the other side. But look at the beautiful body. It's just a stunning, stunning looking car. I mean, it blows me away that I had to go back 4 times before I finally committed to buying it, but that's what I did. So the interior is like the other 1/24 scales, or the Revo slots as well, all being vacuum formed, with the driver being a plastic driver. It's very, very nicely done with a little bit of detail. Now we don't need to dwell too much on this interior, because I am going to take that interior out later on when we go to the bench, because it does actually have a rear seat, and I'm not entirely sure, but the rear seat has fallen down. So we're going to be taking the interior out and then just getting that rear seat to fit properly. We'll stand him back up and glue him in. So you'll get a much better look at that interior in a moment when we go to the bench. There we are. But obviously the defining feature of this car, apart from the body, is the chassis. Now this has got some metal float in there as well, and it's like the Revo slot and the other BRM cars, and it's all metal with limiting adjusters on the bottom for float and so on. But like I say, this car does actually have the universal joint as well. So let's whip off the body and I can show you what the chassis looks like. Now you can actually undo these screws and spread the body, but in all fairness, it takes quite a lot of force to spread this body, and I'm uncomfortable with the amount of force I need to give it to get the body off in that way. So I will literally just slacken off these 2 screws and take these 2 out completely, and we'll take the chassis off the body in a slightly more sympathetic way. And there we are. Comes away very, very easily. So now let's have a quick look at this body. So there we are. Straightforward vacuum formed interior, and it's heat melted in 4 corners, and then we got the roll bar just popping through. Nothing's protruding, so it's all super light, just like a Revo slot. We've actually got the TTS logo there as well. That's pretty cool. So there's the body, and then here is the chassis. Now look at that. What an amazing piece of kit. So on the front end we've got aluminium risers with just straightforward brass bushes in the front. There's no ball racers in there, but it's super, super smooth, and we got it all hollowed out here to reduce some weight, and that guide centers very nicely, and it's also very free to move. It also looks like it might well have a 9mm guide in it. I think it does, but the braids are also very, very nice. They're the thin, but they feel to me like the 0.2mm braids. So that's a really good upgrade on the standard braid just by having that. I really like the 0.2 braid. It works extremely well. So here we have the limiters on the inside. As you can see, it's carried through on small metal plates, which is a very interesting setup. We've also got a small adjustment here for the motor. I don't know what RPM this motor is. I guess I should have looked it up, but if you're really interested, I'm sure the information will be on the internet. Maybe I'll put the number there after a quick search during this video. But then look at that back end. What a fantastic piece of kit that is. Now, there's a pair of ball raced bearings on the rear end in these brass housings, and then we've got this amazing little UJ to give us the camber on the back wheels. Now, I'm not really sure if camber is really going to help us with handling, because really we're running on the very corner of the tyre. Unless these tyres are profiled, and judging by the angle of that tyre, I'm not sure they are. Let me put it on the setup block here. So let me just have a look off camera a minute. I don't know, it's debatable. I mean, if you were to track sand it, you would probably get those tyres to run flat. They're not far off, to be fair. I think they're reasonably flat. So yeah, I think they may well be slightly coned. So I don't think we're going to actually get bad handling just running on the inside. So I think they're going to be pretty good. I don't want to track sand these tyres, and I'm feeling them now, and I believe they are very slightly coned to negate that camber. But anyway, what a cool feature, and what a wicked piece of engineering. It's very, very nice, and it's very, very smooth. So I'm being blown away by that, really. But what we've got to note, there's alloy wheels in there as well. Also a really nice alloy gear, but we've only got a nylon pinion. Now, I'm not opposed to a nylon pinion. I do know, having run this car, that it's super, super smooth. So that nylon gear is really going to help with the loudness of this car being so quiet. So we got two nice screws there, bolting the motor in, so it's solidly mounted. And we got another adjuster screw up front, just underneath the shaft of the motor. So, oh, and actually, yes, we've got a plastic piece on the back of the chassis here that just brings the chassis up to the bottom of the body. So all extremely nicely done. So like I said on the intro, this car is missing its wing mirrors. It's also missing one of those tail lights. And I think what we'll also do is take out the interior, and we'll get to that seat, and we'll just sort it out as well. So with that all said, let's get to the bench, let's sort these minor problems out, and then pop her on the two tracks and the turntable and see what she looks like on the track. So here we have the interior out of the car, and you can see there's actually a little bit of detail here. We've got a driver's gear change stick, and we've also got a fire extinguisher. Very nicely painted hard driver without weirdly spaced eyes. He's quite reasonable in his look. Got a nice steering wheel there, a little bit of detail, and there you go. So here is the seat that fell out, and there was a little bit of glue across the bottom, which I've taken away, a little bit of hot melt glue. So we're just going to scuff up the surface of that silver, and then we'll pop him back in place there with a little bit of super glue, and that'll be that, all ready to go back in the car. So there we are, that's the door mirrors all fitted, looking very nice. That's the seat back, all glued back in exactly where it should be. And the missing lens replaced with the other one refurbished, so we've now got a matching pair. And as you can see, that's the original one, and this is my replacement one. So there's one last thing that I'd like to show you before we put this body back on the chassis and go to the track. Each screw actually has a very small countersink on it, hence the reason why you can't just simply slacken these screws and slide the body. You actually have to take the screws quite a fair way up so that they clear the countersink before they'll slide out. So with that minor detail pointed out, let's get this body back on the chassis and we can go and hit the track. So there we are. This is my beautiful TTS Renault Alpine, and I'm so pleased that I went back and I bought this car and I didn't leave it on the second-hand stand, because that would have been an absolute crime. And as you saw from the track runs, she runs beautifully. She's so smooth and so quiet and grips really well. It's an absolute pleasure to drive this car. I could stand there for hours and just watch it circulate. It's such a beautiful car to look at and to drive, and just so smooth. It's fantastic. Did I mention it was fantastic? I think it is. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this sort of content, and if you have, maybe you'll subscribe, and if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.